let's get started on your page. And we'll get doing some algebra because we like to do algebra.
What do you know? You have made it to the very last lesson of this book. It's been a lot of work, been a lot of pages, and you've done it. And just think all that you've learned from working in this book. 47 and 48 will be the conclusion of your book. We'll do 2 together on 47, and you can do the rest on your own. Let us begin with number 7. Slide it over a bit. Substitution, we've got parentheses and a fraction bar. The nice thing is, I just noticed, the values are all positive, so we won't need to change into brackets and parentheses, and so that'll be nice. All right, so A is 4. 4 plus 3. B is 9 minus D is 3 squared. And all of that over 2. I'm going to go this way first. I feel like I need a sharper pencil. Because that little thing just didn't look. There we go. All right. If I have doubts about whether I can recognize something, I go back and I redo it because I don't want to mess up because I couldn't read my writing, which so often happens in algebra. All right, so now the first thing we'll do, we've got 2 sets of groupings. Well, this actually isn't a grouping because it's by itself, but you've got this. All of this right here is a group because remember the fraction bar is a form of grouping. So this is one group and you have this group within the group. So we'll work on this group first. So within this group you have subtraction and you have an exponent. You do exponents before subtraction. 3 squared becomes 9. So let me rewrite it. 4 plus 3 and 9 minus 9 over 2. I'm going to rewrite it one more time over here. With fraction bars, I just kind of like going to the left. Okay, so inside the parentheses, we have a 0. So we have 4 plus 3 over 2. We've got plus and multiplication. We do multiplication first. That is a 0. I'm going to write it down here. So now we have 4 plus 0 over 2. That becomes 4 over 2. Oh, well, you didn't know. And we end up with a simple 2. Big circle. The value for all of that in number 7 is simply 2. What do you know? On to number 8. Lot of variables in number 8. Wow. I'm not sure if I've done one with this many variables. Okay, T is 2. We know we're multiplying even though there's no symbol or anything to indicate multiplication, but remember you don't have to put one when you're multiplying variables. Since I am substituting numbers for variables, I'm going to have to add a multiplication symbol. I've got to write one in, otherwise it'll look like 23. 2 times 3 plus, hi baby, sweet baby. All right, Amber, I love you. Show off your little footsie. All right. W is 10 minus V is 4. All that is squared over Z is 20 plus 1. We've got groups up here and a group down here. Within this grouping, we have another grouping. We'll do this first. 10 minus 4 is 6. Somebody needs to go outside. Two times 3 plus, let's see, I don't need parentheses anymore, 6 squared. And since this is its own separate grouping, I'll go ahead and add it out. It won't hurt anything. Okay, so now I've got 3 different operations. Times, plus, exponent. I do exponent first. 6 squared is 36. I have 2 times 3 plus 36 over 21. Got multiplication and addition. Multiplication is first. That's 6. So I have 6 plus 36 over 21. Now I can add those. That is 42. 6 plus 36 is 42, divided by 21, which is, no, really it's 2. Again, 2 and 2. 2, 2. All right, the rest is yours.
And solve for x. Isn't that fun?
All right, this is it. This is the last page in this big book. This has been a challenging book for sure. You're writing expressions for each problem, and I have given you a little guidance, okay, a whole lot of guidance on what your variables should be. We'll kind of talk about each one. Make sure you write these down, because if you don't, I'll have to have you go back and put them in, because this is important. Number 1, Ping was M years old 2 years ago. How old will she be this year? M, that's Ping's age 2 years ago. So think, if M is 8, so if she was 8 2 years ago, how old will she be today? What would you do to that 8 to find out how old she is today? Would you add 2, multiply 2, subtract, divide? Think about it. That's what you'll do in number 1. This is not solvable. You don't have information to solve it. If you're going to have a variable, you have to have an equation to solve it. A variable in just an expression is unsolvable. Number 2, Susie bought Z apples. She gave 5 apples to her friends. How many apples did she have left? Z is, make sure you write it out. What is Z? I know, it's the number of friends. Wait, no, not that. All right, number 3. We'll do 3, 4, and 5 together. Marta got 88 points on her English test. Sandy got X points on the same test. What was their average score? So, when you find average, we want to know what their average scores are. So we're going to average the 2 scores. When you find average, you add up all of the numbers. In this case, we have 2. We've got 2 test scores, so that's 2 numbers. Sandy's test score is X. Make sure you write that in. Pause the video if you need to. So what we'll do is, we'll take Marta's score and we'll add Sandy's score. Marta's score is 88, plus Sandy's score is X. And since we've got 2 different scores we're averaging, we'll divide that sum by 2, and that will be the average. So that is your expression for number 3. It's a little bit more complicated than the others, but at the same time, not really, because you've been doing a lot of average. It's nice to see how what you've learned with averaging applies to algebra. So you see how simple it is? It's the same thing, but instead of 2 numbers, you have a number and a variable. Number 4, Gordon has N stamps. Ahmed has twice as many stamps as Gordon. Peter has 3 times as many stamps as Ahmed. How many stamps does Peter have? So Gordon is the one with N stamps. So N is the number of stamps Gordon has. And this is the type of problem where it helps me to separate each of the individuals. So Gordon is N. Ahmed is, so 2N would be Ahmed. Notice I'm using the same variable. You always try to use the very same variable when you can. And then Peter has 3 times as many as Ahmed. All right, so Ahmed is 2N. Peter is 3 times that. So it would be Ahmed's 3 times. All right, so over here, let's go ahead and put our answers over here. How many stamps does Peter have? Peter has 3 times 2N. And then Sandy, the average score of Sandy and Marta's test, I'm going to write that here. I'll be consistent, that way they're all in the same place. It sure helps to grade. All right, now to number 5. May had $50. She gave half of the money to her sister. Her mother gave May $8. How much money did May have in the end? All right, so May had at the end. Ooh, is that correct? A is the money May had at the end. A lot of times when you're solving equations, you assign the variable to the question, but I'm thinking that maybe this isn't right. What do you think? Do you think this is right? I mean, I'm the teacher, so it must be right. I never make mistakes. But what if I did? It says her mother gave May $8. So A is the money her mother gave her. If you didn't catch that, be on the lookout next time. It's really easy to confuse these. That's why I want to make sure that you identify your variable. All right, so A is the money her mother gave May. That's what A is. So, May had $50. She gave half of her money to her sister. So, $50 divided by 2, that's half. Half of $50 plus the money her mother gave her, plus A. So that's her $50 divided by 2, because she gave half away. So now she only has half, plus the money her mother gave her. That's number 5. Now, number 6, I told you to try always to use just one variable. Sometimes you have to use more than one variable. And in this case, you do. Now, if you have an equation with more than one variable and you've got to solve them, you can't do it with one equation. You have to have more than one equation. It's called a system of equations. That's next year in regular algebra. But just to kind of give you that heads up that you will be solving equations with more than one variable. However, right now we've just had one variable. So Joy has X balloons, Maggie has Y balloons, Helen has Z balloons. Now you find out the expression, or you write the expression that goes with that one. Number 7, you need to define Z before you write the expression. And then number 8 we'll do together. The very last one in this whole book. I'm gonna miss doing this book with you all. I am, I'm sorry. Felicia's boat consumed X gallons of gasoline on Monday. It consumed twice the amount of gasoline on Tuesday. How much gasoline was left if Felicia pumped 50 gallons of gas before Monday? So it consumed, okay, so she started with 50. And then on Monday, she consumed X gallons of gas. So X is the number of gallons of gas used on Monday. And Tuesday, it was twice the amount. So I'm gonna write out what Tuesday was. It will just help me. Tuesday was twice the amount on Monday. Consumed twice the amount of gasoline on Tuesday. So yeah, so 2X for Tuesday. how much gasoline was left if police are pumped 50 gallons of gas before Monday. So she started with 50, right? So then Monday she used X gallons, so we'll take that away from her gas pump. And then on Tuesday she used 2X gallons, so we'll take that away. And that will tell us how many gallons was left. So on the blank line, I'll write 50 minus, I'll just write 50 minus 3x. You can do that. If you want to simplify them, like you can simplify number 4. See, that's 3 times 2n. You are welcome to simplify that into 6n. I just didn't because I was afraid that you might not recognize 6n as that. But you know, you can, because I told you. That's how you know. So, we're done. We're done together. I'll miss you.